Meeting will please come to order. And the first order of business is attendance by way of electronic device. This is an action item.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the attendance by way of electronic device for Mr. Mitnick.
Second.
Board members, please prepare to vote. Board Member Jenkins?
Yes.
Board Member Mayo?
Yes.
Board Member Story?
Yes.
Vice Chair Brooks Buck?
Yes.
Chairwoman Byram?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Now we will move to unfinished business, budget discussion and information from this full.
Can you hear me here?
Yes, sir, Mr. Bender, you are now.
Okay.
If you want to go ahead and just mute your microphone until you have a before you can help us to make sure we don't get we work on get ready to start the actual presentation. I'm going to present for our board and for our school community to see, which means that our screen will now disappear and you will only be able to see the actual presentation document that we have up. Just to confirm, can everyone see our slide deck?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Very good. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Forsman, our Executive Director of Finance. Ms. Forsman?
All right, good afternoon. We'd like to remind everybody where we are with the superintendent's proposed budget this evening. So as we begin, we will talk about the budget. The superintendent's proposed budget focused on 4 areas of investment: students, teachers, support staff, and then Suffolk Public Schools efficiency and effectiveness. On March 12th, the General Assembly finished their budget and has sent it over to the governor. The budget has some changes for us, and we wanted to make sure everyone is aware of those changes. Commonwealth of Virginia's investment changed from $4.8 million to $5.9 million an investment. And the investment increased your basic aid slightly. We put a compensation supplement out there for a 2% raise for all staff in the first year of the biennium, and changed the lottery supplement to remove the games of skill, increase the sales tax slightly, and then the at-risk add-on stayed the same. So we have revised the request to the city, the investment down $1 million to $3.9 million, just over $1 million, and increase the Commonwealth of Virginia to 5.9 to show that change in revenue. If you look at this gives you the sources of our revenue. You can see that we were before at 40.44% of the budget for student appropriation. We're now at 39.79%. You can see it revised down from the 65 million mark to 64,772,201. The state revenue, on the other hand, was at 58.31%. It is now 58.96% and revised up to $95,970,943. Other funds and federal revenue remain the same. Again, if we look at this all fund summary, it's exactly the same as when we presented it in February, because all of the changes happened within the operating fund. If we look at revenue, I've put in red the 2 changes here, so you can see it's actually not the governor, I apologize. It's actually the General Assembly's budget now at $5.8 million, and the city appropriations at $3.9 million. And then just to remind everyone of the individual items of investment within the budget that we spoke about before, here are all of the items line by line. can see that our total investments in staff is $8.6 million. Other operating costs are here. And they total $1.1 million for a total investment of $9.8 million.
I'm going to leave this up on the screen for a couple more seconds. I will take this off of the screen and let the board directs me to pull it back up and make sure that we give the board an opportunity to see everyone that is logged in electronically, as well as in our different meeting rooms for this budget presentation.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. One of the questions I have is, I think it's just a logistic question. If I am hoping that our revised budget is released by the city, but if it would not, if that's a possibility, then does the budget come back to the school board? And does it need a vote to revise it? Amendment?
No, ma'am. Today is the board's opportunity to adopt what we have presented to you. If for any reason city council does not run our budget fully, then Ms. Forsman, our staff, and our team would then make cuts or adjustments that are necessary to fit whatever amount the city hopes to. Yes.
But the board has to adopt, you have to present again, the budget,
Yes.
and then up for adoption. I noticed I have a couple questions and a couple concerns. Now, since this is a work session, I'm looking at your PowerPoint from last time. It said 7 full-time custodians.
Yes.
But in the budget, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Swartz, on page 155, it looks to me like there are 11 full-time. Am I correct?
Would be, except if you go back a page to 154 and you look at personnel changes, it shows you the difference between some positions that were converted from permanent part-time to full-time. So the difference would all that would equal the same numbers, which is the only other question.
So, but part-time, if they were converted to full-time, we're still adding that to,
But it is not yet, but it's not a 1-for-1 because one is a 26, the other is not.
I wish that we had seen I feel like I'm voting blind that we did not see the teacher scale. Because I know that when I was a teacher, we were told that many times that like with the study, it was gonna fix the scale. But it didn't exactly fix the scale. So now we're saying it fixes the scale, but I haven't seen the scale to see that it's been fixed. So I feel like I'm voting blind on that because I haven't seen that scale. And then the same with, you tried to explain that we did a partial for the part-time, but I haven't seen that either. Don't know what that looks like in terms of a partial adjustment and then a second one next time. So I feel that that would be voting blind on that one too. I noticed that we have some employees that we have hired that have not been here a full year. And so therefore haven't been through any performance review. And we've had hire several because we've had a lot of turnover, but yet they're getting 6, 7, 8% raises, but they haven't been here a year yet. So that has me concerned about the budget. And so it's hard to work, electronically here, but those are concerns I have within the budget. Some of them, as I work through the budget here. I see that too. If you could just,
Ms. Forsman, a
yes.
chance to address.
Oh,
your
yes.
first-
Okay.
So the teacher scale, we will present that to you.
Wendy, please speak up.
Right, we will present the teacher scale at the time we know our money and we're looking to adopt the budget. So you'll have a chance to see that before you do a final budget adoption. And we don't put that out because, again, we don't want people to believe that that's going to happen if we don't know our money. So we don't feel like that's a responsible thing to do. The part-time scale, same thing. Yeah, I mean, it's the bus driver scale. The permanent part-time will get half of the raise that we end up with for the full-time staff, which has been done the last 4 years. So that's a piece that they'll get exactly half. So they know what their current salary is, and they can do exactly half of that to get to next year's salary. We do have, I believe it's a policy. I'm sorry if Dr. Brown isn't here to answer that correctly, but there's either a policy or regulation out there that if a teacher or a staff member has not been here a certain number of days, they don't move up the scale. Okay, so I don't know how many days that is. I'm sorry, that's not my area, but there is something out there that says that they have to be here a certain number of days in order to move up. So to get that year of experience to move up the scale, they end up that have to be here those certain days. And so I want to say 100, but just please don't hold me to that.
Yeah, but that wouldn't apply to administrators.
I don't know, because again,
Because they're not on a scale.
Well, they are on a scale, but it's not my area of expertise, and they don't move like a teacher or a bus driver would.
Correct.
So they're not going to get a step raise this year. They're going to get a cost of living raise, which is 3%. So they wouldn't be at a 5 or 6%. They'll only be at a cost of living raise.
So let me ask you this. So is that for all admin across the board? Everyone? So I think, Dr. Gordon, didn't we hire you at 180? Is that?
For base salary?
Yeah.
Yes.
So 190 here, would that be a 6% increase?
There are some technical pieces to that, but I don't think we should be discussing in open.
I don't know how it works either, so you can tell me. I don't know how it works, but
Now,
that's
remember-
what it is here, so.
Right, because that also includes other aspects of my contract that I'm going to talk to you in a private setting to discuss.
Okay, fair enough. And one more question, Ms. Swarsman, on page 136. Where it says, this is, it has it on other ones as well, but where chief, it says chief and coordinator. So I'm assuming that, you're the chief? Who is the coordinator?
This is one of them.
So is that salary split equally? So, that on each of yours, or?
Well, no, what it is
What
the
does that
exact
mean?
salary as the raise is put in the budget. So for instance, when I put salaries in here, I'm looking at what next year's salary would be, and it's comparing it to the revised salary of current year.
And also to point out that in the new efficiency and effectiveness for the SDS, Ms. Forsman gets reclassified from an executive director to a chief.
I think for, it would be good because I figured it wasn't an even split. I didn't think we had two chiefs. I think those kind of things should be split apart. So, okay. And that would go for HR as well. I think there are several places where there's obviously the chief and then a coordinator. Human resources, page 135. And again, I would figure that we went to 3, but are they 3 equal people in human resources? Who are they? So I see that in clerical for human resources, there was a 15% raise, but yet we included just another part-time person. Does that all work out to be?
It's half of a full-time person.
Half of a full-time person, so that would take up some of that 15%.
Absolutely.
Um,
Now bear in mind that the way that the budget book is set up is like we report it to the state. So if you see director, coordinator, supervisor together under 1130, which is the object code that we're required to report by, that's why they're all on the same line at this moment. That's why they are.
That's what they are. But for the public, we could split them apart. Is there any problem with that?
We try to make sure that we keep it in line with how it's done for state reporting. It makes it a lot easier for Ms. Forsman's team so that we don't have to look at individual lines. We can group things together based on the grade of the position.
Right, but it's harder to compare district to district if we're comparing the chief CFO to the chief CFO to know if we're in line, if we're behind, because the two are lumped together.
That's how we always look at the individual person and the individual salary for them. Remember, the budget book will not give individual people as much, besides myself.
Sure. So when does the school board get to see that though? This is our budget. How do we get to see that? What our employees are thinking?
We will always just provide you all with the scale for teachers. We can provide you all with the groupings for the different grades. But I do not feel comfortable getting into individual salaries of each employee. That's something that's part of their HR. That really shouldn't be discussed.
Well, I think it's just a position, no matter, it's just a position. It's not, just like yours, it's the position of superintendent. It's not personal. It's just the position. What does this position of CFO? And I think that's public information. So I don't think it would be bad for your school board to see it when I'm pretty sure it's public information. I didn't see a total, Ms. Forsman, for the total of instructional support. We looked and looked and looked. Is there a page that has the totals for instructional support? I saw it for.
So there's page 109.
109.
Is your instructional support for the teaching and learning department. And then the next page, 110, is your instructional support for student services.
And those are totals?
Those are the totals, yes, ma'am.
So for instructional support, the breakout is before it? Yes. The breakout is before. I was always looking for it ahead. All right, there we go. And I have one more question on page 105. The media specialists, we have 24 full-time. Tommy, I think this would refer to what we call now our librarian. Well, I used to call my librarians. Are those the librarians at each school, the media specialists? Page 105?
Yes, ma'am.
So that seems to be, we haven't changed the number of people, but yet it's only a 1.4% increase.
Well, when you have turnover, new folks come in less expensive than the folks that are retiring. And so I'm basing this on real payroll. So the 24 that were in there last year are not the same 24 as this year.
So therefore it can come in as less
Yes,
because we have new people in that position. Okay, great. Purchased services, what does that mean?
It can be any kind of service that we purchase, from the copier maintenance contracts to maintenance contracts for fire suppression systems, to we have someone who does work for us, outside work for us for our maintenance department, whether it be roofing, whether it be any other kind of maintenance that they have someone else come in and expect.
So not
Work
equipment or
in-
anything, just services that we
Services
purchase, contract out.
Yes, ma'am.
Some of those seem to be rather high in terms of percent increases. So is that based on, we think all those contracts are gonna go up? Or
Well-
our contracts have gone up? How does that?
It would
look?
depend upon the program and everywhere that they have put something, for instance, on page 108 is a very good example of that. Under student services, crisis prevention training and restorative practices training increased by $12,726, which is the cost to bring that training to us.
Okay. Okay. I mean, some of them are quite large, like in 65% raise. Is that based on actual new contracts we have or projected contracts, what you think they might go up?
It's based on both of those, but also based on what we spent in the past where we had to transfer money from other places to cover what was needed.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure that this year we would already have that money allocated. So that
So we weren't shuffling so
Yes,
much.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Okay, so I understand that. Thanks. It was on the first page. I just noticed that. There's my first page of data. So it seemed that we added licensed professional staff, but we must have taken away because this is the exact same number as last year.
We did
So we added some, but we also had
reclass some.
reclass sums, okay, because that was the exact same number. That seemed odd. Okay. All right, well, those are my questions. Thank you so much. I think that's it. If I see something I didn't ask, I'll come back, but thanks.
We'll come back.
Anybody else have a question?
I have one question, Mrs. Forsman, has anything changed except the amount of money that we got from the state since the last budget session that we approved this budget? Anything else changed?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt the proposed budget for 2021.
Second the motion.
Board members, please vote. Board Member Jenkins,
Yes.
Board Member Mayo,
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick, Board Member Mitnick. I'm sorry, Mr. Mitnick, please repeat.
Yes.
Thank you. Board Member Story. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Vice Chair Brooks Buck,
Yes.
Chairwoman Byram,
Yes.
motion carried.
If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned.